My first mission was to clear an Iraqi RPG training barracks a few blocks into the city. Dickie, the warrior vehicle commander, began the countdown, and we exited, spread out, and got into all-round defence. I reminded my men to watch the rooftops and the windows for snipers and RPGs, as this was now a three-dimensional environment. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. I then requested that the warrior blew the wooden gates off the barracks to our front, and to my disappointment, the 30mm high-explosive rounds didn't explode, but went straight through. I guess the gates would have to be opened the old-fashioned way. Our warrior revved its engine and easily smashed through the gates, and our infantry assault could now commence. I can recollect that the barracks consisted of a two-tier structure, set out in a rectangular courtyard with a veranda and pillars on the right-hand side. As we approached, I ordered my men to immediately clear the ground floor, as we could utilize the cover of this veranda and pillars to our advantage. As we moved forward, for some bizarre reason, I was treating this like a training exercise, and was providing instructions to my men. I remember walking past my men whilst critiquing them. "Mac, cover the window. Pez, watch the second tier. Dave, use that pillar as a better firing position." Then an RPG whizzed by and exploded to our rear. This was followed by a burst of small arms fire that was close enough to feel, and I was fortunate to avoid. My training instantly kicked in, and I dropped to my knee and took some cover next to Dave. The penny had finally dropped, that I was in an urban firefight, and I could feel my adrenaline take effect. My right elbow was stiff, and I could feel a warm, damp feeling running down my right leg. Had I been shot? Regardless, this would have to wait, as we had a job to do. We methodically and mechanically then cleared the barracks in a fluid-like motion. I remember hearing shouts of, "Room clear! Floor clear!" And it wasn't long before the barracks were cleared and deemed safe. The Iraqi soldiers had evacuated and had put up little resistance as we were entering. The job was complete. It was time to check my injuries. I was nervous to put my hand on the back of my thigh and felt a warm wetness. But oddly, when I looked at it, there was no blood and it was clear. My initial thoughts were, have I pissed myself? I checked again and smelt my hand, and it wasn't piss. This was water. The burst of rounds that had narrowly missed me on our entry had ricocheted off the nearby wall and smashed my water bottle, as well as hitting my elbow. I was fine, but realised how lucky I had been. There would be no more live instructional lessons in combat from now on. I'd learned my lesson the hard way. I never mentioned this to any of my team, as I am certain that they would have mocked me for it, especially Pez. My elbow still aggravates me from time to time, but this was a welcome reminder of how fortunate I had been.